Hello and welcome to Solar Fortuna Development Log 2. There are some more updates this month, mostly on the UI side. The progress has been a little bit slower this month relative to the previous month. I did go quite hard in January and implemented quite a few things, and I think I just needed to slow down a little bit this month. But yeah, I think it's best if we head into those updates right now. First things first, things like the options menu, as you can see here, they now fade in and out. The reason for that is I'm using the common UI stack widget, and this is now an activatable widget, a common activatable widget. And this means I can basically just activate and push this to a stack, and the top widget on that stack that I'm pushing things to is the widget that gets shown and presented to the player. In this case, it's very simple. It's just the options menu, and we can open and close it. And we also have another one here for mission select. So it's now no longer start game. It's now got a mission select between the two missions. There isn't really a second mission. It's just another map that will be coming soon, TM, just to test out some other mechanics that have yet to be implemented, but will be implemented soon. More on that later. Right then, so loading into game, let's go select mission, mission 1, and we've immediately loaded into game. And first things first, we can see that I'm able to rotate the camera around in whatever direction I sort of want, which is quite an improvement. We can also just press a button and reset the camera view. The events are busy popping up as I'm rambling along. But yeah, recapping on those UI improvements, we have another one of those common UI stacks in the middle of this screen. So things will no longer overlay on top of each other like they were in the previous showcase that I had. So if I activate the menu, the market menu right here, as you can see, that goes over the top of the pause menu, but it doesn't get rid of the pause menu. So yeah, that's just a quick example of how the widget stack works, I guess. So you know what? Let's very, very quickly just build up a small space station just to demonstrate some of the new things that have been added. Okay, cool. We've now quickly built up a small test space station just to show what's going on. So let's assign those critical resources, the crew and the power. So that's now all assigned, as we can see, and hey, here we go. So a new component has been added, and this is the kitchen component. Previously, it was just the case where I think wheat was classed as a food, but now I've added in, we've got this food ration stuff, and we have kitchens. Kitchens in this case, I would like the hydroponics farms in the kitchens to have like different things that can be grown and different recipes that require different types of food. But for now, that's not really in. So at the moment, what happens is it just takes in wheat and turns it into a quote-unquote food ration. So now, we have these food rations in the game, and that the wheat, instead of counting as a piece of food, counts as a raw. I think it's like raw material, something like that, rather than the food component, meaning that it won't count towards the food total. This means that we have to process our raw ingredients into food that can be used, and that's just sort of an example of, I guess, the resource acquisition and refining gameplay. So the exact same components that are being used here to take the wheat from here and turn it into the food ration here can then be used for, say, mining later on. So you have a mining camp it goes out to an asteroid, mines, and retrieves some sort of ore. Don't know what ore, whatever, doesn't matter. And then, at least at the moment, and it then goes to a refinery, and that gets smelted or processed into an actual material that we could use or sell. So it's all going to be using the same system in the back end. At the end of the day, things just require recipes, and those recipes can be of any resource type. So yeah, it's all nice and modular in that respect. Another thing you may have noticed is I can quickly dart between things, and I'm doing this by double clicking. There's a nice well, it's not a lerp, it's like an ease out. It's like an exponential ease out thing, so it just quickly snaps towards the thing and slows down over time, which is neat. And another thing you will have noticed is as I click on each of these components, we get a little health bar above it. This was actually always there. There was a status component there, but it wasn't being used for anything, or it wasn't really plugged in. Whereas now we can see it all there. And, if I had a way of dealing damage to these things, at least in the game right now, we'd be able to see the health bar depleting. So loading back into another game here. So this is just a load game that I already had. I'll go through and explain some of the other things that have been added. We also have this interact kind of pop-up menu at the bottom. We've got the toggle activation button here, which is quite neat. So if we look at the power up top here, it's 3 at the moment. Each one of these solar panels provides 5 power. So if I disable it, well, we're now on -2, and the power will be decrementing instead of incrementing. So yeah, let's reactivate that. And another thing is these interact panels are kind of unique per component. I have like a base one here. On all these components, which has just got the activation toggle on. But the kitchens here have an extra thing, and that's add upgrade. So this is another thing that's been added. I have modifiers to the output resources. So I have resource factories, which is as a component, which is how things generate resources. So the hydroponics farm, which is over here, has a resource factory act component on it that it doesn't consume anything, but it outputs, in this case, wheat. And that can be taken in by the kitchen, which requires wheat as an input and outputs the food rations. But I can modify that now because I have added modifiers. And modifiers can either be add, subtract, multiply or divide, and these affect the either the required input resources or the required output resources of particular components. So if I go here and I add an upgrade, we'll notice that instead of the food rations going up by 4 each time, it should go up by 5. It'll also tell me that it's a +1. So yeah, 50 food rations there instead of the expected 49. So if I add a bunch, we go to +7, that should now, go up by a whole bunch. So that's now a +8, which is quite a lot of upgrades. If I then went to this kitchen here, I could add a different one, and we have like different output modifiers for this. And again, we just get more out for the resources we put in at the moment. It's very basic. I'll probably want to limit upgrades, and some upgrades may be a bit more interesting than it just modifies the output. But yeah, it's a start, and adding modifier stacks to things helps improve things, I guess. So let's also quickly just sell off a bunch of stuff in order to get to that next level just a little bit quicker. So if I sell off food rations, that's probably the easiest way because I have a lot of them and I made them worth quite a lot just for the purposes of being able to sell them and quickly advance to the next level. And here we go. We load into another level and we've got some new background music. Well, hey. Yeah, there's nothing really extra here other than, you know, slightly different background. But this level will be, you know, centered around, you know, this relatively barren looking rocky planet, but I'm going to have an asteroid field around it, a little asteroid ring around it. And this is where I'm going to be testing the mining sort of resource acquisition gameplay. So yeah, this level will become the test bed for that gameplay loop. So we'll have that, we'll have refineries, and maybe that'll be able to go to more complex components that maybe require specific specialized resources. And of course, you know, I can have objectives like, you know, must have 100 titanium ore, or, you know, whatever I decide the ore that's being extracted is. So yeah, that'll be neat. That's the next thing that I'm going to be focusing on adding, just so that we have some more variety of gameplay. So yeah, once that's in, I think I will turn my focus to adding in a bunch of events for each of the 2 levels, and really trying to work out and, you know, suss out what is and isn't a good event. So there we go. Those are the updates for this month. And yeah, you know, hopefully the next update, the next development log will be, I guess, a bit fuller. You know, a few more interesting things to show off. I definitely want to have resource acquisition in there by next month, meaning that I can have some mining and refining gameplay, and, you know, have multiple levels and different objectives on those multiple levels. So that's really going to be the focus of next month. Get all that in, and then just start to just create some events for the 2 different levels, and really try to work out what makes the dynamic event system interesting, because the system has a lot of potential to drive very interesting gameplay, but if poorly implemented, then it'll just lead to dull and repetitive gameplay, or overly frustrating gameplay. So yeah, that's going to be my focus for the next month of development, and yeah, I hope to see you next time.